But they're engaged.
Doesn't matter, it can't happen.
Why not? It's bound to come up.
It's impossible. Lois could never have Superman's baby. Do you think her fallopian tubes could handle his sperm? I guarantee he blows a load like a shotgun right through her back. What about her womb? Do you think it's strong enough to carry his child?
Sure, why not?
He's an alien, for Christ's sake. His Kryptonian biological makeup is enhanced by Earth's yellow sun. If Lois gets a tan, the kid could kick right through her stomach. Only someone like Wonder Woman has a strong enough uterus to carry his kid. The only way he could bang regular chicks is with a kryptonite condom. That would kill him.
How did I go from the verge of hot Floridian sex with Brandy to man of steel coital debates with you in the food court?
Kyrgyzstan is not part of the food court.
Well, of course it is.
You watched anything good lately besides what we're...
Yeah, I watched both of the Smile movies.
Did you like
yesterday
them?
morning? Yeah, they were good.
Yeah?
I was not expecting them to be very good.
I didn't like the first one.
I can see that it's like way more B movie. The second one was like double the budget.
Yeah, it looked...
I mean,
crazy.
it had to be because of like
I wonder.
Actually, I looked at the budget. I'm saying it had to be a bigger budget just because of the nature of that story, like that concept,
gotcha.
like it being a pop star.
Oh, yeah.
And so you didn't see that one?
No, I haven't seen it.
That one's. So I actually enjoyed the first one, and then I went to put on the second one, and I was like, oh, it's about a pop star. I don't know, like that concept loses me often.
Brett said, never stop, never stopping.
Yeah, it just was like, oh man, I'm gonna watch. What was that Justin Bieber concert film I was forced to see at the drive-in? It just felt like it was about to be.
Talking about like 15 years ago.
Yeah, Never Say Never. Is that what it was?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like that, and then.
Oh, you were worried it was gonna be like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
but obviously it wasn't.
Like a horror movie. Yeah.
But then it gets so good, and the actress, I think Naomi Scott is the main.
The pop star.
Yeah, she's great. Everything
Yeah.
that like the way it ends too is just like
You think
got
it's
me
better than
hyped
the
for a
first
third one. Got me hyped for a third one.
So you think it's better than the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the first one is good.
I don't know, dude. Like when they do the end of it and the monster comes out, she's like, ah,
And it gets in her
like,
mouth?
like in
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe or whatever in that Spider-Man clip. You know what I'm talking about? Ah, and he's just freaking
Yeah,
out.
I will say the reveal of the actual monster when it's not acting, like when it's not looking like somebody else, I was like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like lackluster. I was like, I don't even need to see what the monster actually looks like, you know.
I'm not even, you know.
That's Kevin Bacon's daughter is the lead in that first one.
I figured that out about halfway through watching it because I was like, she's like a perfect blend of Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick, I think is her mom. Is her mom's name? 'Cause I think they've been married. But
Yeah,
like,
she has like the facial structure of Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon, but I didn't clock it and I didn't look it up online. I was talking to Jay Hyde about it last night, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, halfway through it, I was like, why is this lady so hot? It's Kevin Bacon's daughter," and I'm like, "That's the that's the tell. You're like, she's hot. She must be Kevin Bacon's."
He
daughter.
was like, Kevin Bacon's hot. She's hot. You
Yeah.
know, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. At this point, I'm pro doing a 2-in-1 episode of the Smile movies.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'd have to watch the second one.
Yeah,
You know, actually, I'll tell you right now, 2 things that kept me away from it. The first, not liking the first movie as much as I thought it would, and then the runtime is like, it's really long compared
like 2
to.
hours, like an hour and 50 minutes.
It's like 2. I mean, like for what the kind of movie it is. It's just, I think it was longer than the first one.
Yeah,
so
it
I was
is.
like,
it's worth it.
I was
though.
like, God, it's longer than that one, and I didn't really like that one.
No,
you
it's
see
a-
my
it's a
logic?
better- It's a better movie for
Okay,
sure.
no, I do want to check it out though. I'm probably gonna watch it around Halloween. I always save movies that I've missed, and
Yeah, that's one. I've also been watching The Studio,
is that
which is actually what made me watch the Smile movies,
yeah?
because you know what I'm talking about with the Seth Rogen
Yes, the
thing?
Seth Rogen, Evan.
Yeah,
Goldberg
like
show.
one of the producers, like one of the producers in the one of the characters that's a producer is like trying to make a movie called Wink, and they get Parker Finn, the director of the Smile movies. He get him to sign on to write and direct it, and it's just, and I was like, oh, yeah, you know, I might check. I mean, they mostly mentioning like decent movies in that show, so when they mentioned
Yeah.
the Smile movies, I was like, maybe I should go
Yeah,
watch them. But
yeah. No, that show is. It keeps coming across. I follow Seth Rogen on like Instagram or whatever.
yeah,
and he's been posting like behind the scenes clips of how they filmed it. Very cool watching them how they do their camera work on that show.
Yeah.
It's a lot of one takes and
Yeah,
single camera usage
yeah,
and stuff.
it's so good. Especially the first couple episodes are doing a lot of the one take stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like, you know, they have a big star on almost every episode. Bryan Cranston's a recurring character.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
Johnny Knoxville recurring or is it just that one episode?
Just that one episode. There's a couple of them with what's her name? why can't I remember her name? Zoe Kravitz.
Oh,
There's
cool.
a couple Zoe Kravitz episodes.
Cool. I
Yeah.
like her.
And they have Parker Finn on. He's
Right.
like only in there for a few seconds, but
I feel like I saw.
Martin Scorsese's in it, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I
like-
saw a clip of like another like huge director. It was probably that one. Then.
Yeah, it's Steve Buscemi or Buscemi.
Oh, he's in it.
Yeah,
At some point.
Yeah, just for a little bit. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I'm not really spoiling anything because it doesn't make any sense why they're there. So like,
Yeah.
or
you're
like,
just
yeah. I mean, I guess it does, but me telling you that they're there doesn't spoil anything.
I mean, yeah,
It's
that's
like-
just a. They're
Yeah.
just making a cameo at that point.
Anyway, what have you been watching?
I've watched after we watched Big Time. I watched a couple of those. You know that It's Such a Beautiful Day, that animated movie.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of that dude's other like shorts. They're pretty interesting. And then I watched Catherine Bigelow, Strange Days, which
Oh, that's on my list.
dude, it's wild. I was a little eepy. We watched it pretty late at night, and I was a little sleepy, so I kind of was nodding in and out at the end of it. But he's like Ralph Phineas. By the way, I never said that guy's name right for like 15 years. I think it's Rafe Fiennes.
What else is he in?
I mean, a million movies.
Yeah,
he was
I
in
watched
the
him in something recently, I think.
the Menu. Is that what it's called?
The Menu.
Yeah, he's a chef or whatever. You didn't see that one? It was
I don't give a shit about chef movies.
Ah, come on, man.
Dude, I want to watch The Bear because I like Jeremy Allen White, but like they're just cooking and shit, dude. If I wanted,
yeah. If you wanted to what?
if I wanted to like watch someone cook, I would maybe cook myself, which I never do. So I don't know.
Don't be like that. Oh, but anyways, he was in the newest movie he's been in was Conclave. I don't know if you heard about the Conclave movie about the popes or whatever.
Yeah, I did.
There was that. He was famously Voldemort.
Yeah,
Harry
okay,
Potter.
that makes sense. That's why
was in-
I've known his name a long time. That's why.
Yeah,
it's 'cause
Grand
of that.
Budapest Hotel. If you've seen that Wes Anderson movie,
Yeah,
he was in that.
Speaking of Wes Anderson, Wes Anderson.
West.
Wes Anderson. He's got that.
Oh, the Phoenician Scheme coming out.
Yeah, with Benicio del Toro
Oh,
and
man.
Michael Cera.
It looks good.
Yeah,
dude.
I'm excited for that.
I am excited for it. I've recently become like a Wes Anderson head. Like Rachel kind of put me on him. We've been going through watching his movies.
I don't know
over
if
a
I've
few
seen
years.
every movie he's made, but my dad would watch some of them when I was a kid. So I saw Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I was about to say that's everybody like around our age. That's like one of the ones they cling to. That and
Yeah.
like Grand Budapest. And
Yeah, and then Grand Budapest, and then wait, does that one have the kid that is I don't know, I can't remember his name. It's like Tony Ravioli or something. It's not
Oh,
Ravioli.
no.
His name's not Ravioli.
Tony Ravioli.
But he plays Flash Thompson in the new Spider-Man trilogy. That's
he's
Grand
in. Yes, he's in Grand Budapest. He's like
Yeah.
the bellhop, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like the little kid that works with Ray Fiennes.
Yeah. I didn't realize how recent of a movie Grand Budapest Hotel was until I watched it and saw that guy in it. I'm like, he's a youngin'.
He's a young man, strapping young lad. Yeah, it turns out Strange Days came out in like '95, I think. So I think that movie turned 30 this year.
Wow.
I was watching it. We were talking about me and you talking about watching Point Break at some point.
Yeah.
We threw it out there, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a little more into Catherine Bigelow. You know, I don't know if you. I mean, she made like the Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30. I don't know if you ever saw
I've seen
those.
Hurt Locker.
Yeah. And Near Dark, that's like from back in the day. I don't think you can find that on like a DVD that's not like $100.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
just
on
one of the.
streaming?
No, I don't think it's on streaming either. It's just one of those things, rights issues, and it falls kind of the wayside. You know, kind of like how we were talking about Big Time last week.
Yeah.
Talking about
That's a bummer when stuff like that happens for movies that people care about.
Yeah, I know, right? It kind of happened with what we're talking about today. I feel like.
It did for, I guess not for nearly as long as some things.
Oh,
but,
yeah, no.
But what we're talking about today is Mallrats. We have yet to mention.
Oh yeah, Mallrats. It's also turning 30 this year. I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's in October.
Yeah, they better
something.
do like a theatrical run of it again. They probably won't because I think they did a 25-year theatrical run.
You think? Well, no, because that would have been in COVID.
Yeah, maybe they moved it to 2021 or something.
It's
so they
very
could-
possible that
yeah.
they did that.
Because I remember seeing that it was playing in some theaters. I mean, not like every theater. But
Oh yeah,
they had like a
very
small-
select dates around the country.
You
or
know, I
whatever.
think that they could put this movie like wide release in theaters and people go see it.
Oh yeah.
Go see it again or see it for the first time. I think like back then, comic book movies weren't huge. I mean, you had your Tim Burton Batman, and it had been 20 years since they had started doing those Chris Reeves Superman movies, which people started to hate by the last one, by the
Right.
fourth one, because it was bad. So like a movie about comic book culture and kids that walk around the mall, just like, I don't think that was hitting back then the way that it might hit for people to look back in retrospect now.
Yeah.
Then again, I wasn't alive then, so I don't know. But that's how I feel about it. So I think now, like, if you find a section of the year where there's not any comic book movies coming out and you throw this in theaters, I think everybody flock to it. Especially considering, like, Stan Lee's a dead man now, and he's in this.
Man,
So
that he is in this. He's great. That's jumping ahead a little bit, but I remember marking in my notes. I was like, it's nice seeing him.
yeah,
Very handsome.
yeah.
I love his voice
He's
too. I
looked
think
old
everybody-
forever though.
He
Like,
has, dude.
crazy. Like,
What was he in his 90s when he passed?
yeah, I think so. Maybe.
So I mean, Jesus Christ, at that point, because 2019 was his last cameo, wasn't it?
yeah.
So yeah, dude. I mean, at that point, he was pushing his 60s for Mallrats. Anyways,
Bro never got to see Endgame.
oh man, that's
Maybe
tough.
he did. Maybe he got to see an early cut of it.
They gave him the one with all the green screens in it. And shit.
Yeah, and which is like when it goes to the CG, it's just like the silver boxes, like that version of X-Men Origins Wolverine I saw as a kid.
That's what killed him.
He watched that shit. And he's like, "What?"
He said, "What has happened?"
He's like,
No.
Why does everybody look like the Silver Surfer?" I didn't realize he was in this movie.
What the hell's the Silver Surfer doing here? Mallrats 30. Oh, was that good?
Yeah, that's a good one.
30 years old.
Director Kevin Smith.
Did
my
you?
boy.
Speaking of, before we go any further, did you watch the director's cut or the extended edition or whatever, the regular version?
I don't know. I watched it on Amazon.
The 90-minute version.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. The reason I ask is because I feel like when they did the 25-year anniversary or something, recently they came out with a Blu-ray or DVD that has the extended cut on it.
Oh yeah, I can tell you. I wrote down in my notes.
I don't remember what
somewhere,
year it came out, but
So this is like, director Kevin Smith. Whatever this is one of the only movies of his that he did not edit.
Paul Dixon, I think, edited it, right?
Yeah, but he sat down and edited it maybe with that guy the second time for I think it's either the 10th or the 15th anniversary release of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably is where that longer version came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the Blu-ray, I'm pretty sure I was reading because I didn't watch that version. I don't have the Blu-ray or whatever. They were saying that like he opens the film and he's like he calls it the version that you shouldn't see or something like that because I think it takes about 30 minutes for them to even get to the mall because the movie like it adds like I think the extended edition is like 2 hours long.
Yeah,
Versus
I'd like to see that.
the 94-minute version of this. I don't know, dude. I mean, this is obviously just like people that I read online. They were saying it kind of drags in spots because it is so long.
Yeah,
Because the beats it's so tight. The shorter
Yeah.
version is pretty tight.
I mean, I'm a fan of long movies,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but I think maybe I would only appreciate that long version if I had this like real version to be like, okay, this is the movie.
yeah,
I think once you put out a good movie at a short run time, then you get to do your extended version. And if people don't like it, they at least know like, okay, the version they actually gave me to begin with is the one I like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think that you get some leeway there to kind of make a too long
yeah.
version of your movie.
You can just put it out on DVD or
Yeah.
home video or whatever.
But I would say, like, I could watch Jason Lee do that character, like, over and over again.
Yeah, he was great. I think was that his first movie? I think it's his first movie because I'm
Really?
You hear when Kevin Smith is talking about casting the movie, he said, I was interested with Jason because he never said he never acted before. He said somewhere I was listening to an interview, he said it actually kind of made him more comfortable because like Clerks, most of the cast had never acted before either.
Yeah.
So it's like he was like I'm used to that. He's like that kind of made me more we can kind of work together on this thing. But Jason Lee, he's great.
They were they tried to cast somebody else as the lead role to begin with. And the dude had like a breakdown on the first day of set and like couldn't give the same performance he was given in the in the audition, and then they had to get Jason Lee like pretty quick.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And speaking of like, different cast switch ups, they did not want to have Jay Muse back as Jay.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were like, the studio is really pushing for Seth Green.
I did read that.
And they had him on call like until like halfway through the production just in case. And I wonder, you know, I know when they were making the Jay and Silent Bob movie, the first one, which was like 2001 or something.
Yeah.
I know that they were, like, having issues with Jay Muse being like heavily addicted to like heroin. And
Yeah, man,
being
he had a
drunk the whole
rough go
time.
of it.
So I wonder if maybe he was already. If this was like the start of it, and they had someone on call in case he fucked it, I don't know.
There's something I remember, because you know I've told you before I love Kevin Smith. I've watched Clerks. You know,
Yeah.
everybody, you know, indie filmmaker. I watched Clerks and Trainspotting when I was like 19. Big formative movie for me, and I love Kevin Smith ever since then. What I realized watching this movie, I've seen Mallrats as a kid on cable a million times. Never finished it. I've seen like bits and pieces.
Oh,
of
really?
It. Yeah, because I was watching it last night. I was like, I've seen this part. I've only seen it. It's like 4 scenes. You know, so I've seen like maybe like 20% of the movie.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can kind of see him. He's really skinny in this one, especially skinny in Clerks. He kind of blows, like gets larger at some point, and I don't know if that's because he's off drugs or he's on drugs. I can't really remember, but you see him go through like a physical transformation throughout these Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah.
And then once he gets to a certain point, I lost the movie you were talking about with the other. He was talking about Seth Green and stuff like that. He when making Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
He's incredibly thin in that one. Clerks 2, he's incredibly thin.
Yeah. Strike Back is the one where like they
Go to Hollywood because of their comic book or what their Blunt Man and Chronic or something.
No,
like
that's
that.
the reboot.
That's okay.
Yeah, which I did just watch that movie right after Mallrats because
I thought that was the point of Strikes Back. I've also seen that on cable. I haven't seen
Wait,
it in like 20
it's
years.
been a long time since I've seen Strikes Back. I'm trying to think of what happens in the.
Because they have like the monkey and all that, the orangutan. Remember?
Oh, do they do that in that movie too?
Yeah.
Okay,
Dude, you know. Okay, first of all, Kevin, you know he's just doing bits from all his old movies when he does the new movies.
Yeah. Well, in reboot. Oh, I just slapped the microphone. Sorry, buddy. In reboot, in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, Jay and Silent Bob have like lost the rights to their name.
Yeah.
And so they have to go, but they go with Kevin Smith's daughter plays Jay Muse's long lost daughter,
Right.
And they go with her and her friend to Hollywood to stop the making of the Blunt Man and Chronic movie.
Right.
But that's very similar to.
I was about to say, is that not what Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back is? Now I'm looking it up.
Because
Now
when you
I
say
gotta
the
look.
monkey bit, I remember the monkey bit, and that's not in.
Okay, when Jay and Silent Bob learn that their comic book alter egos, Blunt Man and Chronic, have been sold to Hollywood as a part of a big screen movie that leaves them out of any royalties, the pair
Yeah,
travels
okay,
to
that's the first-
Tinseltown
yeah.
to sabotage the production.
Yeah, so I guess the reboot really is a reboot, but
Yeah.
I mean, not really. I mean, it's
How
all-
was that? Now that we're talking, now that you
it's
mentioned
it's
it,
not. I mean, watching Mallrats, which is pretty loved.
his second movie. I mean, now it's a cult classic. It's
Yeah,
his-
I mean, well, Mallrats is pretty loved, and then you go to watch that, which I don't really know what the reception of it was. I just
of reboot.
I just prefer to this a lot. For
older,
Mallrats.
younger Kevin Smith. Whatever
Yeah,
you want to say.
I mean, I
Early
will say
career.
reboot's like maybe right after Yoga Hosers and Tusk, so it's a lot
Is-
better than those.
Well, yeah, it came out. It's 2019, so and then because I think
Yoga
Clerks-
Hosers is like 16 or something.
Yes, because people liked Clerks 3.
Which that was like 2022. Right?
that was the one that like just came out.
Yeah.
I don't think the reception for reboot was great. People did not see because people didn't like Yoga Hosers. People didn't like Tusk.
Yeah.
There was like this string in that people didn't
Dude.
like Red State.
Tusk is pretty fun to watch.
I don't even think people like Cop Out, which I like Cop Out. I have a copy
That-
of it from
that's just, like,
Blockbuster.
It's fine, but it's not really Kevin Smith. You know what I'm saying?
All I know about that movie or remember about that movie is now that at one point in time he was going to call the movie A Couple of Dicks instead of Cop Out. I don't know because dicks like private eye like kind of thing.
Does that movie have?
It's Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, but it has Tracy Morgan in it. That's pretty funny. I
Pretty-
forgot Tracy Morgan existed.
Is it not the beginning of the movie where he's like, talk dirty to me, like, fart in my mouth,
Oh yeah.
shit on my chest?
Yeah.
She's like, what the fuck?
I saw that clip recently. I didn't remember what movie it was from.
I couldn't remember if it was from Cop Out or a different movie. Anyways, we have gone down a little bit of a path of Kevin Smith.
Yeah, we did a Kevin Smith run through.
But this movie is about Brody and T.S. They both get dumped. They got to hang out. Where do they go? They go to the fucking mall.
Yeah, and they literally spend the entirety of the movie in the mall.
The whole day in the mall. I mean, that's what you would do.
Yeah.
There was that's, God, when did that kind of, I think that culture officially died probably about 2013, 2012.
You think it took that long?
Well, I'm just thinking about our own personal mall.
Well,
you know,
I was at 14. I was going to that mall and it was dead, and I was not going there to hang out very much. I was going to the movies and I'd hit the food court. And
exactly. That was the thing to do, though, and that's.
Well, I mean,
there was still FYE when I was going to the mall, and there was
it
still
closed
GameStop.
around then. Oh, we had a GameStop in our mall?
Directly across from the FYE, where
How do I not remember that?
It's a perfume store or a jewelry store. It's
When
right
did that
next to
GameStop
Claire's.
close?
Right next to Claire's.
When did that close? I don't remember that.
Dude, I was probably still in high school, if I had to
Yes,
guess.
I guess I was in middle school. I wasn't going much.
Yeah, like.
Well, anyway.
Yes.
You're talking about TS and Brody. Brody is, he said Jason Lee. TS is played by, where's his name? I got
Jeremy London.
Jeremy
I believe
London.
is his
I've never
name.
seen him in anything else.
So
But he did I thought he was maybe of the two leads the better actor.
he was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed him. Well, because I'm pretty, and I'll have to, as we're going along, I'm going to double check this while we're talking. I'm pretty sure this is Jason Lee's first movie, like
Yeah, I mean,
ever
I would,
acting. And if
I could see
with that information loaded in my brain, I can kind of tell. But I don't think he did bad. He's
No.
so funny.
No,
he's
no,
so naturally charismatic.
Yeah,
too.
he's pretty charismatic. He's naturally funny. He does do like the same voice for every line, you
Mhm.
know. But
Got this exasperated way of talking.
yeah, which is kind of something that I would think someone that doesn't act much would do, but it just works, like.
But that's kind of how he is. You know,
Yeah,
like
mean,
from My Name Is Earl. To
I was about to say
like
he
the
does a
skate
little bit
video
of that in My Name
games.
Is Earl. He's definitely more experienced by the time
Oh,
he gets to
yeah.
My Name Is Earl, but he does do a little bit of.
He's
yeah.
just got like the cadence of his voice. I think is part of it too. So
And it's funny because probably the first thing that I saw him in as a kid was My Name Is Earl, and then the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie.
oh my god.
So then it was like, then I went back in time and watched like Chasing Amy and stuff. And
Right.
he pretty much plays the same character in this movie as he does Chasing Amy, but they're named different things.
Yeah, I for some reason, because I've told you I've never seen Chasing Amy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I know you've always told me it's so good. A lot of people have told me it's good, but you've
Yeah.
especially sung his praises. But I for some reason thought that Brody, like I thought that was Brody in Chasing
No,
Amy.
his name's like Banky or something.
Yeah, Banky.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Banky. Yeah, but it's like Affleck's in this movie, and he's like the after Brody's girlfriend breaks up with him, she starts seeing the new guy, and he's like
25 that
Yeah.
works at the mall.
Yeah, he's like an asshat, and that's Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck and Jason Lee's characters in Chasing Amy, they write the comic book together,
Right.
so they're playing two different people.
Right.
But Jay and Silent Bob are the same, same.
They
thing,
are the
Silent Bob.
through line.
Yeah.
Through all of his movies,
Yeah, the through line from Clerks to Mallrats to.
I haven't seen the 4:30 movie. I think probably like besides like Red State and Cop Out, and probably the 4:30 movie. I think they're all like somewhat connected because I think there's even connections in like Yoga Hosers.
Yeah,
And-
Jay and Silent Bob in Yoga Hosers.
I've never seen it. I
watched
don't know.
it. I watched it when it came out, and I was like, God, this is awful.
Yeah.
But dude, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
we
the
can talk about that
little like bugger troll creatures that
Oh,
are in the floor
God.
in the gas station.
Yeah. Anyways, you're talking about the actor for TS, Jeremy London.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention Rachel came in from work. She was sitting there watching it, and we went to walk the dog after the movie was finished. She's like, "That guy was in Dazed and Confused." And I was like, "No, he wasn't." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Yes, he was." And we sat there. We were like, "No." And I like Googled it. His twin brother. They're like, I'm pretty sure they're identical twins. He's in Dazed and Confused, and he looked, and like I was like thinking back to those scenes. And have you seen Dazed and Confused?
Yeah.
He's the main guy. He's like, I don't want to sign the paper about not doing drugs for sports or whatever.
Yeah.
He's that. They're like, I was like, holy shit! I see why she thought that was him. Like they look.
Yeah, I'll have to look up a picture.
Oh, dude, they're the same person. Especially like looking at the Mallrats version of Jeremy London, and then Dazed and Confused, which I think came out '92. So this came out '95. So I mean, like,
Yeah, they're similar age.
yeah, they're identical age.
Oh, yeah, you said they're twins. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
But he did great. I thought he did great. Shannon Doherty was awesome as Renee, which was Brody's ex-girlfriend. Rest in peace. She passed away, I believe, last year.
Oh, really?
Yes, she did. She had cancer. Very sad. I loved her. She's awesome.
Who is Brandy? Was that TS's girlfriend?
That was
Because-
TS's girlfriend.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they both go through these breakups
Mhm.
right at the same time, and like I don't know about you, but like with TS, I'm like so he was being a little selfish
Dude.
in the beginning because
the beginning of this plot, the way it kicks off, I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
yeah, like he was there. There was a girl that was supposed to be on his Brandy's dad's show, right?
He's running a dating show in the
yeah,
mall.
and TS says something like kind of offhand rude to her, not terrible, but she goes and like runs herself to death, right? And then
I thought it was swimming. Either way, yeah.
But yeah, and then now his girlfriend, who's now breaking up with him because he's selfish, has to go on her dad's show to take the girl's place. So he can't like take her to the beach or whatever where he was going to propose or
and bone her for a week and then propose to her.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. There's something about like just the way he handles that character, and even though he's a little selfish right in the beginning, I'm rooting more for him to get back with his girlfriend than Brody with his.
Brody sucks, dude.
Yeah, dude, Brody
sucks.
I just assumed that even though they don't look like high schoolers, I assumed that they had to be like high schoolers.
They
right?
are. I think they're seniors.
No. Are they? Are they?
Well,
in
yeah,
college?
because they make the
No,
comment
no,
because
one of them, TS is in college, is he not? Because they mentioned that he's in college at some point. I thought
the reason I thought they were all in high school is because they make the comment. They have the one side character who has ultimately been Affleck's downfall. The 15-year-old.
Yeah.
That when they first meet her, he tells TS, he slaps the book and he's like, she's so smart that she's already a senior like us and she's only 15. And then he starts because he's kind of like bullying her. He's like because he slaps the notebook out of her hand.
That, but I swore that TS said something about being in college.
Maybe I missed that part.
Or maybe one of the girlfriends is in college.
Something, or somebody's going to college, something like that.
I don't know, but either way, she's that girl's 15, the one that's like getting paid to sleep with men and like.
I thought that was an
do the
insane
research.
plot point.
That's a fucking Kevin Smith ism. I'll tell you that. But
yes,
I thought it was insane that Brody is like basically trying to pawn TS off on her, and he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter that you're 18. Go mess around with this 15-year-old. Like, I was like, Brody, you suck. Like,
yeah, he's an idiot. I think he's supposed to be this. Obviously, he's immature. That goes without saying. But he's this immature idiot that's so self-absorbed. I mean, Renee calls him self-absorbed and just just everything. that it takes Stan Lee talking about like breaking it down into like comic book terms of like how you have to like act and be in a relationship, and like you don't want to live with that regret of not being like everything you want to be for that person you love.
Yeah.
And I think that's so funny. For some reason, it's just so like it's such a Kevin Smith thing.
That
really.
scene makes Stan Lee seem like makes his life seem depressing. He's like, I'll never forget that woman I let away.
What did he say? It was the Vulture's soliloquy or something like that from one of the books.
Speaking of the Stan Lee and the comic books and stuff, the collection of comic books that Brody has in the beginning, I was looking at that and I was like, damn, there's like a little bit that you can see what the issues are. I was like, oh, that's cool. And apparently that was Kevin Smith's collection.
I was about to say that had to be Kevin Smith's.
And he had way more than that, but he sold all of them so he could finance Clerks. And then that was what he had gotten back within like the year or two since they started filming Clerks.
Holy shit, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's really awesome.
Where you want to go next? You talked about Stan
where we
Lee.
want to go next. Where are we at? Really? I mean, we got to the mall, but I mean, there's the whole thing is in the mall. They meet a cast of characters. Not to be like no shit, but I mean, they really are just like running around the mall, running into their friends
so they
and
meet
the townies and shit like that.
Yeah, they meet Ben Affleck's character, right, which is the dude that he owns a store in the mall, right, or he works at one.
He's the manager at the fine clothing store for men or something like that. He's always wearing a suit.
He's the biggest jerk. In a story full of jerks, he's the biggest one.
He's the hugest jerk.
And I didn't realize, speaking of the cast of characters, that is it Renee? Her dad is not
Brandy.
Renee. Brandy's dad is Michael Rooker.
I know, man.
I didn't realize that was Michael Rooker.
I was listening to a podcast the other day called Blank Check, and Kevin Smith was on the episode, and he was talking about, I'm like 95% sure he said he originally wanted Alan Rickman to be in that role or something like that. He had somebody that he had like wanted to work with in mind for that role, and then they ended up getting Michael Rooker, and it was like he was like,
was Alan Rickman not already so famous, like too famous to do this kind of thing?
Let's see. Well, the podcast was about Die Hard, so Alan Rickman got famous from Die Hard because Alan Rickman was a British TV guy, and he was on like stage.
When is Die
and stuff
Hard?
Like
Is that 90?
80?
That's 80. So yeah, then Alan Rickman would have already been big then by the time they.
He got in for Dogma. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always look at some of the I used to look at the cast of these movies and be like, dang, how did Kevin Smith get all these famous people in his like indie movies?
Mm-hmm.
With that, like a lot of some of these movies, the studio wanted like too much control, so he's just like, never mind, I'll finance it. You can just pay to distribute it if you like it. And so it's like he's really like paying some famous actors. And then I realized that, like, okay, Jason Lee wasn't big. Yeah, that's how we got Jason Lee.
Oh yeah, Ethan Suplee, if you remember Willem, the guy that's trying to find the sailboat. That's another character they run into. He's just standing there the whole movie.
But he gets huge people too in some of these movies. Like he gets Stan Lee. He gets Michael Rooker was already big-ish at this point, right?
I was about to pull up. I'm trying to find the movie. There's a movie that he got. I hesitate to say he got big off of because I'm not exactly 100% on his career, but it's called Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I have.
It came out in '86, and I think that was like
I need to watch that.
what kind of put him like in front of a lot more people. Michael Rooker,
Yeah,
I think.
and this is 9 years later, so it's like
Yeah. So I mean, he's
he got
pretty
some names.
established.
He got
He's
some names. Ben Affleck had to already be big enough, right, at this point.
95. I mean, when did Goodwill Hunting come out? I think it.
Good Will Hunting is actually after this.
Is it right after this movie?
Yeah, Kevin Smith put Good Will Hunting in front of somebody. Like
It's 97. So
Yeah, he put the Good Will Hunting script in front of somebody that needed to see it, and like was like, you need to cast Affleck
right.
on this. Like he gone for him. So that's interesting that Kevin Smith had something to do with Good Will Hunting. Right?
That is wild.
Like, and it just feels wrong for that movie to be after Mallrats. You know what I mean?
It does. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Like, I don't know.
Well, because the whole point of before I go down this rabbit trail about Ben Affleck's character in Mallrats, have we talked about every character? No, Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah,
Gwen, is that her name?
yeah. I think so.
Your girl from Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love her. I have such a crush on her.
She's so good. I really wonder why Kevin Smith didn't just, when he was making Chasing Amy, didn't just have Jason Lee and Jason Lee and Joey Lauren Adams be the same characters in Chasing Amy, because I think it could have worked.
Yeah.
I
think
like
because
they were aged up a few years, but
I think the only reason is because he establishes in Mallrats that Gwen is not a lesbian. I've never seen Chasing Amy. Is she like lesbian or is she like bisexual? Is like that the whole point of the movie? I don't want to spoil it. If
yeah,
it is.
it's like that's part of the.
But like she's like they make is in a '90s kind of way. They kind of like poke fun at the fact that she likes to sleep around with people. Gwen in Mallrats. So they bring that.
But
up.
that's part of her character in Chasing Amy too. That's why is that she has slept around with a bunch of men and women. Is like that's a big point of contention.
Okay,
there,
I
so,
see. Okay. I need to watch the damn movie.
Yeah, you should. We'll have to do a podcast on that one. But you're talking about Ben Affleck's character?
Yes, his to add to how awful and slimy and terrible he is, he gets to a point in the movie. The reason he goes after the women that he goes after is because he says they're easily impressionable.
Yeah,
easily open to suggestion.
Yeah,
is what he says.
They're recently broken up with.
Invulnerable.
Yeah. And then there's the running bit is he's like, so you can get him to do things easily, and everybody's like have sex in the back of a Volkswagen.
Dude,
like
that cracked me up so bad. When they're at, like, not to jump completely ahead, but like right at the end of the movie, when Gil, the other contestant in the dating show, he's like, Jason Lee's like, he wanted to make my girlfriend do something very, very uncomfortable or something like that, and Gil's like have sex in the back of a Volkswagen, and he turns around and looks at him. Which I don't know if you clocked that. That's old boy from Clerks. That's not Randall, but the main guy.
I didn't realize that.
No goatee. He didn't have a goatee, and he's got the long hair.
I haven't seen Clerks in like probably 10 years. I watched the first Clerks like 10 years ago. I was like 15 or something, and I haven't seen the second or third.
I have never seen the third. I've seen like half the second one. But yeah, Ben Affleck's character, awful. He did great though for the few scenes he was in it.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was awesome.
He's so good at being a friggin' asshole. Like,
he's great. Yeah.
Every movie that I've seen him in where he's an asshole, I'm like, this seems right. Like I didn't like him as Batman very much.
I never saw his Batman movies.
Well, he didn't actually even get his own Batman movie. They tried for a long time to get him the movie that Pattinson plays Batman in, originally that was going to be that project was originally supposed to be directed and written by Ben Affleck and starring Ben Affleck as Batman. And it kept getting pushed back, and then eventually they got Matt Reeves on the director on as director, and then Ben Affleck was still going to be in it, but then his vision changed, and they want to do a younger Batman, and so Ben Affleck kind of got screwed.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean,
what movie was he in?
He was in Batman vs Superman and Justice League, and
Okay.
I think he's got a little bit in that first Suicide Squad movie that's unwatchable.
Oh, wait, I saw that in theaters with my parents. It's terrible.
Yeah, have you seen the second one?
Yes.
Much better.
I watched that on HBO Max. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I like Sticker Man. Or Polka Dot Man. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Anyways, we went down a little rabbit hole. They are in this mall. This is a great movie. This is a great suggestion you made. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh yeah, it's I knew it'd just be fun. It's just one of those
Yeah.
things that's funny.
I was kind of worried, it being the 90s, it being Kevin Smith. I was worried there's going to be some stuff that just like didn't age well.
No, he's good about that. Like
You know.
that's like one of the reasons I like Chasing Amy so much is that for the time it tackled those and this movie does the same thing, but tackles concepts that were just either not talked about in movies back then or like really mishandled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he does a great job with that. He's always been woke, as he'd say, woke
Yeah.
Kevin Smith.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Seems like, at least. I would love to go to his cinema, which is apparently where he made his new movie at, but up in New Jersey. But,
What movie is it?
The 4:30 movie.
Oh.
It is. You didn't know the 4:30 movie? No,
No.
it's really quickly. It is. I think it's just about like teenagers going to the movie theater and sneaking through theaters all day because they pay for one movie. Because that's what he would do as a kid. So
Yeah.
it's like one of those like self-insert like, and he now owns that movie theater that he would do that at
I was
as a kid.
confusing that with the 413 movie.
The 413 movie.
Yeah, that's the. I think James Gunn worked on that one.
Okay.
It may not be called the 413 movie. Maybe I'm tripping.
Either way, little. We keep going down a lovely little rabbit
It's
trail.
all
We
right. It's all irrelevant.
we could talk about. I could probably just ramble on about Kevin Smith
Yeah,
because he has been. I don't know about you, but he has been like in the background, like a lot of people probably too that are like into movies and stuff like that, just playing since I was a kid. Like I told you, I'd seen this and I didn't even realize it on cable
Yeah.
at my grandparents. Like that's the first time. The first movie I ever saw from him was not Jersey Girl. It was probably Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back on cable on Comedy Central with television ads and all that shit. But it was at my I was too young to be watching it.
I need to rewatch that one. It wasn't free on Amazon. Yeah, so I gotta pay for that one.
You gotta pay for
Mallrats
it.
is free.
Yeah, Mallrats was free.
Tracing Amy's not free, but thanks to you, I have that on DVD.
I still need to watch that. I keep saying that. I keep saying it. I need to watch that movie.
But something I wanted to mention.
Yes,
I feel like
please.
going through this movie like in a linear fashion is just not really doable because it's the whole thing is in you can't really jump from location to location. It's
Well, I
all-
mean, I agree.
I
Also, a
wanted to
fool's
mention
errand.
That bit. There's so many funny bits in this movie. I mean, it's a comedy.
There's
you know?
they set up in one scene and they pay off like either the next scene or the
Yeah.
scene immediately
that
like after
to me
that
is
one.
like his best writing. Like
Yeah?
some of Kevin Smith's best writing is in this movie because of things like that. But something that cracked me up, dude, is when they go and it's still in the mall, right? And they go and see that lady that's like I don't know what you would call
They
her.
go to the flea market dirt mall or whatever, and she's got the 3 nipples.
Yeah,
The fortune teller?
Yeah, and she takes off her shirt, and immediately Brody notices, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And
He's grossed out.
yeah, and then TS is just talking to her, like looking her straight in the eyes, not noticing. And then she says something about having a third nipple, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't notice." And
He said-
Brody's like, "What the?"
He said, "Oh,
Like,
that's
lose-
incredible." He said, "That's disgusting."
But Brody
What are you
loses it.
talking
He's like,
about?
You're kidding me. You didn't notice? Like that was.
It was so good.
And I think it's especially funny that TS doesn't notice and that Brody reacts like that because the camera itself keeps looking at the like zooms in on the third nipple
Just
every
keep
5
showing
seconds.
it. Just
Yeah.
keep showing that nipple, dude. That was a very good bit.
Yeah.
The stink palm bit, that was a good one.
Oh yeah.
The running gag of like a Buster Keaton routine for Jay and Silent Bob trying to destroy the stage, and Silent Bob keeps getting thrown into the dressing room,
Oh,
like
yeah.
going head first into the like just getting knocked out every time. There was one bit that he had to cut out of the movie that was pretty crass and sexualized for that. It had to do with that bit. I think he was, at the end of it, but they cut that part
He
out.
was wanking it.
Dude, I don't know. That's just what I read. He was like, yeah, I had to cut that part out. And I'm like, Jesus, Kevin.
I mean, he was just like really making a movie about the mall, probably. Like that's what happened. That's what used to happen in the mall.
I mean, I'm looking at this. I mean, he's got to be mid-50s at this point, like 55,
Yeah.
54, whatever. So 30 years ago, I mean, like a mid-20s, pothead nerd. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't he make a joke about jerking off? Like I had to look at a lot of this movie. I was like, this is like a mid-20s pothead movie.
Yeah. You're probably older now. I might be even older than he was when he made this.
I think we both are. I think if my timeline is right, like my numbers are right, I think we're like right above that age.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's nuts, man.
Oh, also, the bit where Brody gets his ass beat by Ben Affleck's character because he's like, stay away from the girl or whatever, right? And he says, like, he doesn't want to tell him what happened. He doesn't want to tell Jay and Silent Bob what happened for some reason.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there and they're like, stitching him up or whatever, they're helping him out. And he's telling him that it was the Easter Bunny. And so then Jay and Silent Bob are just beating the shit out of the Easter Bunny in front of all the kids in the mall, dude. That was so good.
I loved it. They were great. He really got some good bits with Jay and Silent Bob. I was really happy about that. I was worried because I've heard a lot about this movie, never watched the full thing, and then seeing it all come together, I was really, really pleased with what I saw.
I'll say though, I think Jay and Silent Bob work best as those kind of that role in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been a long time since I've seen Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, and I'm gonna go rewatch that. But having just seen the reboot, and then the two movies that I'm the most familiar with that Kevin Smith has done are Mallrats and Chasing Amy, and Jay and Silent Bob are perfect in it because they're only in it for like they get 30 minutes of screen time max.
Yeah.
That's their those are background characters.
They're just sprinkled throughout the entirety of the film. Yeah, it's like a little seasoning on the dish.
I think that's the move for those characters. Because they just have the chance to come in and be really funny.
Yeah.
And then
do a really good bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, there's that one bit they're running from the cops in the mall. Like they're outside and like Jason Mewes is just like, ah! Like he's making these insane vocalizations, like screaming, like running away from him and stuff. It's just like physical comedy, just gags,
Yeah.
With them slapstick. It was just slapstick.
Yeah,
with them.
they are like slapstick characters, and I think that when you try to make a whole movie out of slapstick characters, you either have to compromise like what they're written as, or just have an entirely slapstick.
That's the thing with those kinds of movies is they've got to be like tight.
Yeah.
Like a slapstick comedy, like it's got to be tightly written.
I will say Jay Mewes does get better at acting as they go on, so he probably Yeah, I mean, by the time they make Strikes Back, he maybe is a better actor and more, has more star power, like leading role.
Yeah, he was a baby in this one. I was noticing that.
Yeah.
Rachel pointed it out to me too.
He still does a fine job, though.
Oh yeah,
I
I love him.
I couldn't. I mean, they wanted to have Seth Green play that character. I can't imagine that.
No,
that wouldn't have been it.
What do they? I think Kevin and Jason Mewes refer to each other as hetero life mates. I mean, they're best friends. They.
Yeah.
I don't think you don't have Silent Bob without Jade. You don't have Jay without Silent Bob. As those two men. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin and Jay. Like I don't think it works any other way.
Let's see. What have we not hit? I'm not super worried about hitting the story points in this one.
I mean, dude,
this movie has a story.
Eventually they get on that dating game after he stink palms him. They've got a few different bits. Jason Lee gets beat up. The Easter Bunny gets beat up.
Yeah,
they grapple hook. Jay and Silent Bob grapple hook. I mean,
this movie does have a plot, but it's just a plot that is like surrounding good bits.
Yes.
I
mean, the whole plot is the two guys get broken up with and they go hang out at the mall.
Yeah, and they
like that's the whole plot. If you want to get really down to brass tacks.
I mean, that's TS gets his girl back. They get married.
Yeah, they go to the dating game. They have this dating game, and the three contestants.
And the dating game is Brandy's dad's.
That was the game we referred to earlier.
Yeah.
Jay and Silent Bob are once again hired to get two of the contestants. Oh, they're supposed to get all three of the contestants high, but it only gets two of them high. So then TS and Brody can both get on the show. Talks to Claire. They have their big moment where Claire and TS, he wins her back, and then Brody tries to win Renee back, and then I can't remember Ben Affleck's character's name, but they eventually, through Jedi mind powers, this big plot that they've set up, and they show Ben Affleck having sex with that girl on the TV.
Oh,
Oh my God, I was like, call me daddy or call me Donnie or something like that. It was, oh God, it made me cringe. I was like, oh Jesus Christ,
too much.
Yeah, it was a little much. I was like, Jesus.
It fits the character, though. I mean,
yeah, and then he was like,
expect from that guy.
well, then they immediately were like, and that girl's 15, and the cops run over there just fucking like tackle him or whatever. And that's the movie. I mean, like it's they have a moment with Stan Lee. I mean, it's just
great bit. I'm so glad that they.
I thought right there, I was like, that's the heart of the movie.
Yeah, I mean,
that is the heart of this movie. Is like,
imagine if they had as originally the role was not written for Stan Lee. It was just written for someone to be a Stan Lee type, and like he wasn't gonna mention real Marvel characters. It was just gonna be But the fact that they got Stan Lee to do it, they could talk about Marvel characters. Like that's awesome.
Oh, it was great.
That, like you said, that really makes that's it. Really, like that third act is transformed by that. You know, like I'd say that's the start of the third act right there, or the end of the second. Yeah. I'd say it really transforms like how Brody behaves for the rest of the movie.
Well, it gives Brody a different perspective. I think he finally, like, you're like, finally, you idiot, you get something. Maybe not everything, but you get something. You get it. You know. And I'm like kind of proud of him. I'm like, you fucking moron.
You just had to have it explained in comic book terms.
Yeah, I'm like, God, you're.
It's the nerdiest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, it really is, man. But it was a beautiful. And then it was so funny. He walks off, and TS is like, "Hey, thanks, Stan." He's like, "All right, man, no problem." It's like he paid him to do it or whatever. It's just, it was great. It's a great movie. It's just a good movie. I was pleased with it. I know you were pleased when it ended, and they started playing Weezer.
Yeah. The soundtrack for this movie is great. Yeah,
it is. I feel like a lot of those were covers. Those songs that they played, like when they were actual like well-known songs. They didn't.
Yeah.
The reason I say that. He did that in Clerks. That's how he got all the soundtrack. He just got a bunch of covers. I think I could be wrong about this, but it's been a minute since I've looked at this information. But I'm fairly certain every single one of those songs is covers by some of them, and I think some of them are like people he knows.
Well, the Weezer one's not.
No. Weezer, obviously. I'm talking about for Clerks. So I'm like, he moving forward. I think he kind of kept that that mentality. Saves you money.
Amy too. I
mean,
it just saved a lot of money.
Oh yeah. It saves you. I mean, it cuts you. I can't. I mean, I've never had a budget to work with, but I would imagine the rights, because I know how this stuff works. I can't imagine the amount of money you need to clear. You know what I'm saying? Specific, like as many songs as you like get, like kind of like a jukebox movie like that.
Yeah.
But it was good. Fucking Mallrats.
I'm glad we watched it,
dude. It was a good suggestion. Who's your before we wrap it up? Who's your favorite character?
Honestly, probably Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get the most laughs out of him because he's just so like
fatty boom batty blunt baby.
Yeah,
snoochy boochie.
that kind of shit, dude.
Oh man. Well, I mean, I guess this was before you really knew me, dude. I dressed up as Silent Bob for Halloween for like 3 years.
Oh yeah, I've seen a picture of it.
You've seen, dude. I was in a costume contest. I didn't talk all night. I wouldn't talk.
You were really committed to that.
Dude, they were like, Blake, talk. I'm like.
So is that your favorite? Is that your favorite character?
I mean, yeah, Silent Bob's always been my favorite. But out of Mallrats, man, I've kind of got a soft spot for Mr. Svenning, Michael Rooker's character.
Oh yeah,
he was so funny.
He's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. I mean, and I've got another soft spot for Ethan Suplee, even though Willem is just kind of standing there the whole movie looking at the thing. I just like that actor.
Yeah.
The big guy, because I think he's in My Name is Earl at some point with Jason Lee as well.
He is, yeah.
But yeah, I like him. But my favorite, it's probably...
He's the second, he's like the second main character.
Oh yeah, you're right.
His brother. They're brothers.
It's his brother. That's what... I always caught like reruns of that show. I never watched it all the way through. And I like that one ending. Is it the end of the show when he's doing the robot at the wedding or whatever? Anyways. Silent Bob is probably I mean, that's just my guy. Like I said earlier, Kevin Smith. Love that man, for better or for worse. I know he's got some real turds in there, but
no, the good stuff makes up. Dude, Chasing Amy alone makes up for Tusk.
I was really quickly. I was listening to something earlier, and he was talking about Spike Lee, and he was saying like because Do the Right Thing is Spike Lee's like third or fourth movie, and I mean Do the Right Thing is like transformative film, like it's an incredibly important piece of film, and God, this was he was saying like this is like the 90s, like the early 2000s, something like that. And he made something that was just a stinker. And then Kevin Smith, he was like, that guy may do the right thing. He gets a pass for the rest of whatever. Like he may do the right thing. And he's like, after like Tusk or Mallrats or something had come out in the middle of his career, like he had that period nobody liked anything. Zack and Miri made a porno, Red State.
Dude, I like that movie. I forgot about that movie.
Right. He was like, in the depths of it. He said, in the depths of my career, when I was making shit nobody liked, I saw somebody say it was like, well, he made Clerks though, and he was like, yes. He's like, I'll always have that. He's like, I have that do the right thing defense. I just thought it was funny, but the sophomore slump was real when it came out. But I think this movie's grown home video, and I think it's a worthy second film.
Yeah, for sure.
Following Clerks.
Need Mallrats too.
Twilight of the Mallrats I think is what he would call it. I've looked into that, and
I think it almost doesn't make sense to do a second Mallrats when like all of the actors in this have been used in other movies since. You know what I mean? Like,
I do get that. I think I saw an article. I didn't read the whole thing. Like 7 months ago, he was like, I think this is when Shannon Doherty died. He was like, if the second Mallrats ever does come out, he's like, I think it should be about like that. He's like, it should. He's like, I realize it should be like a tribute to her.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was sweet because also mall culture has died.
Yeah.
Mall culture.
Bring it back.
Yeah,
Mallrats 2 can bring back mall
Twilight,
culture.
Mallrats 2, Twilight of the Mallrats.
They'll reopen the FYE in the
Oh my
Gadsden
God!
Mall.
Give me back coconuts. Give me back GameStop. But yeah, I thought that was sweet. And if they ever do make a Mallrats 2, I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah, same.